I kind of screwed this up when I made this video and didn't push record while I was actually doing it. So this is the aftermath of it. What I want to talk about here is a GM Turbo 400, Turbo 350, the transmission fluid leak from the speed sensor. Okay, usually what happens is you take it to a shop and they'll put this O-ring in here and push you down the road, or in this case, they'll put some silicone on it and it doesn't fix it because it's not what's actually leaking. What actually leaks is this tiny little itty bitty seal that's inset inside the body of the housing. Now the gear actually rides on this seal through here, and then this is actually the O-ring for the housing. So here are the two part numbers. Here's a Napa part for the outside, and this is, I got this from O'Reilly's. This is for the little inside guy. Now there are other videos out there of how to do this. It's pretty simple actually. One thing to note is that when you pull the Speedo gear housing off in the little clamp, you're gonna lose some fluid. Typically it's between 1.5 to 3 quarts depending on how the angle of the tranny is, so make sure you have a pan underneath it. And this little seal, once you get the housing off, you can look down in there and there's a tiny little C-clip. It's just like a piece of spring steel that's just kind of, it just sits on top of this and holds it in there, and that's all that holds this in. It's just a little lip. There's no spring. I mean, this is a 1985 era, so it definitely got its time worth. But I just wanted to make this short, quick, because this is highly overlooked. Like the Hemi misfires with the coil boots, how the boots get rusted them, causing misfires. A lot of people don't even know that this seal is in here. They think, oh, let's just put an O-ring on it and push it down the road. That's the only seal, right? Well, wrong. So these are the two pieces that you need for a Turbo 400. Now, I'm pretty sure, like I said, the other ones, 350s, are all the same because they like to interchange stuff and save money. But these are the two pieces you need. It took me about 20 minutes or so to do this, and that included filling the fluid on my back on my grandpa's RV. So it's definitely not a huge job, but just make sure that when you pull that thing out that you're gonna lose fluid and it's gonna come out quick, because that hole's 2 inches or so, well, however big this is, and the fluid just kind of, it sits there. So you're looking up at the transmission, this O-ring is held in by the housing, and as the engine's off, the fluid all drains back down into the pan. And so a lot of times you'll get leaks while they sit because this seal, these two seals, are supposed to be holding that fluid back, and over time they wear out. Now the other thing that I figured I'd mention here before we cut this off is a lot of times you'll see where this seal rides on the shaft. You have to pull the shaft out of the housing and scrutinize it, because a lot of times this seal will eat away at the shaft and it'll create a little divot or a void. So a lot of the times it pays to get the speed sensor gears while they're relatively inexpensive. Just replace them all at the same time, because a lot of times what will happen is you'll do these seals, put it back together, and it'll still leak. Well, that's because this seal, like I said, there's no spring or any retainer on here to put any positive pressure on that shaft. So all that is just a friction fit. So if that sensor shaft has a little bit of a wear in it, it's not going to seal. So there you go.